Hey guys, it's a Savvy Business Chick, making sure that you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. And tonight I have gotten a hot topic, guys. What to do when you get your first client referral. So come on in. I look forward to sharing this topic with you. Thanks so much for joining. Tonight we're going to be talking about what to do when you get your first client referral. And so, for those of you, if you have not been in my broadcast before, I am Sean, aka the Savvy Business Chick, making sure that you know your purpose and destiny in the marketplace. And just a little bit about me. I have been educationally trained in business, actually have a degree in international business, as well as have owned a successful home care practice for the past 15 years, for over 15 years, generating seven figures each and every year. So I think I know a thing or two about how to help you start and grow your business. And tonight, in my segment of what to do when you get your first client referral, I want to share with you 3 to 4 steps that you might not have considered, that you might be missing out on, so that you can be successful in growing your business and keeping those client referrals coming. So let me put this down here. Please let me know where you're watching from. Where are watching from? Okay, so please let me know where you're watching from. Okay, there you go. Okay, so I was talking to a mentee and we were going through her intake process. Hey, Philadelphia, thanks for joining. How long have you been in business? Are you an aspiring entrepreneur or an existing or an emerging entrepreneur, I should say? So I was talking to a one of my mentees in my home care CEO mentorship program, and in this particular session, because we have customized sessions that we do for helping each individual agency with growing their business, whether it's in the startup phase or, like I said, growing and scaling it. So is licensed, and she wants to start doing some of her marketing, but she did not have an intake form. Now, she just so happened to be in the state of Nebraska, and Nebraska does not require that if you have a personal care agency that you have to be licensed. They don't have any regulations, so it's pretty much um, no red tape. Is nothing stopping you other than getting your business license and just functioning appropriately. But don't you know, people have asked me, well, why do I still need policies when I'm not in a regulated state? Well, this is a good reason why, because you will get your first client call, right? And you may not know what to do. So even if you are a CNA, or even if you are a nurse, do you know what to do on the operational side? And so there are regulatory policies, and then there are operational policies. And then what I'm going to go over right now with you guys, is more of a system. So it's a mixture of a policy and system. Thanks so much for joining. Of what you will do to be successful in your client intake process. So for this, we're gonna call it, thanks for joining, the client intake process. So you get a call, and it's your first client. You're excited, you're nervous. Calm down. I even told my mentee, don't talk fast, please. Don't talk fast. Don't be so excited that you're talking fast. But the first thing I want you guys to do, and if you could put the number 1 in the comments for me, the first thing I want you to do when you get that client intake is I want you to identify the source of your marketing efforts. I'm reading from my notes. Identify the source of your marketing efforts. Now, you might say, well, Sean, I didn't have any marketing efforts. They just called me. Well, you want to know, how did they find you? Did they find you on social media? Did they find you on your website? Did they hear about you? You need to know how they heard about you. Why? Because whether you have a marketing plan or you don't have a marketing plan, that if that activity of whether, let's just say they saw your Facebook page, then that means you need to be doing more stuff on Facebook, right? That means you need to invest more into getting a Facebook client. Thanks so much for joining. You need to invest more in getting more referrals from Facebook, because they're going to tell you, oh yeah, I found you on Facebook, or I found you wherever. So, um, so the first thing, like I said, identify the source of your marketing. Number two, put the number two in the comments, guys. Now you want to start the admission process. So let's say you want, and this is a mixture of me pulling in from yesterday. Yesterday we were talking about a poverty mindset. Thanks for joining. And how a poverty mindset, it can keep you from starting or being successful in your business. So we're going to say, hey, I want to start the admission process. This is going to be my client. But before I fully admit them into my agency and provide them services, you need to do a pre-screening. And so earlier today, me and my mentee, we came up with a pre-screening form that I'm going to tell you that we named this form the intake sheet. This is something that we customized for two separate clients' businesses, so that when they get these calls, guys, it's either going to be a call or email, but preferably a call. Thanks so much for joining. This is what you're going to do to, just acknowledging people that's coming in. This is what, thank you so much. Number two is admission. This is what you're going to do to make sure you don't forget to ask a question. So on the intake sheet, you're getting general information. So you would put down, things like number one, what is the source? How did they find out about you? What is their name? You need to find out their name. You need to find out, where is this potential client located? Because a lot of you, what you don't have is what I call admissions criteria. So let's say, thanks so much for joining. Let's say you have a child and you want to, thanks for joining, you want to get them enrolled into a private school. Do you know, yep, do you know that they have a criteria of what, they have a list of things that you have to, you basically have to meet the standards. And I don't want you guys to be so anxious, so excited to bring one of these clients, this new client, that you don't do a checkup first. Because in this case, when you're taking on a client, it's not cheaper to keep her, right? So, there's a joke that says in marriage, it's cheaper to keep her. But if you accept a client and you find out, oh, this client is bad news, they are bad news, especially if you're in a regulated state. If you're in a regulated state, they can file a complaint. They can contact the licensing board, file a complaint against your agency, and then you gotta have the man in the middle. Then you're gonna have the state in your business, and then they're gonna want you to do some certain procedures, and guess what? That's gonna be costly. So that's why I said it's not cheaper to keep her. Watching from Ohio. Thanks, Ohio. Thanks for watching. So you're not in a regulated state, but my two mentees earlier today that I gave more heavier version of this of these tips to, one is in a regulated state and one is not, right? So we were at number two, and that is start the admission process. And so this sheet that I gave them and we customized for the company, it has a list of questions, and basically you want to ask what will make this client an ideal client for you. So I have an IG I have an IG TV replay where I talk about how to identify your ideal client. So let me give you can go back and watch that, but let me give you an idea. Let's say this client that's on this call is will be a private pay client. Okay, that's good. They can afford me, they can afford me. I don't have to, contact another person to see, how much they're going to pay for reimbursement of my services. Let's say the location is within your area of where you're going to serve, whether it's the county or the zip code or the radius. And then they they have the conditions. Let's say they the client has Blue Cross Blue Shield, and you're like, oh, I'm not a Blue Cross Blue Shield provider, so I can't accept that client. Thanks for joining. So let's say that when you're going down this list, it's almost like a cheat sheet. You're checking off certain things that's initially on your admissions criteria. Excuse me. Thanks for joining. That will let you know that you can move forward and bring it on this client. Let me go back to the initial call. So for those of you guys that are just joining, I'm not going to do too much of a recap because I will be leaving this on IG. So you got your call, right? And the first thing we had you do is identify the source of your marketing efforts. But let me give you a really, really, really good tip. Please answer the phone. Please, please, please answer the phone. So if you're not answering the phone, don't let it go. Don't send it to voicemail. Have a mechanism where they have apps now that will act like even if it's like a computerized version. You don't want to just have the phone ringing. A voicemail is even acceptable, but this is what clients do because I have interviewed, polled clients, and this is what they do. Whether they're on Google looking up home care providers, or they're given a list from a case manager or whatever of different home care providers to contact, they go down that list, and the first person that answers the phone and says everything that they want to hear pretty much, and pretty much can offer a relief to whatever situation, whatever's going on in their home, they're going to pick them. So a lot of times I got a client because my agency got a client because A, someone before me didn't answer the phone, or B, they answered the phone but they didn't call back. So you got two things, and you're like, oh, I would never do that. Because, I would be, thanks for joining. You would be so, efficient that you wouldn't forget to contact somebody back. But that's why this intake sheet or form that I'm going to have you do, what I would have you, if you would work with me, I would have you do, it even gives you a space for following up. So you would, before you get off the phone, you would say, I'm following up with you in 2 days, or you would schedule the home visit. So that was number 3 on my list. You're scheduling the home visit. So one little minor mistake that one of my mentees did when she made her website is that she wanted the individual to schedule the home visit online on a website. And I, recommended that she change that process because that is not something that is comfortable. Just think about it. If I'm a potential client and I go to your website and you say schedule an assessment, well, I don't feel comfortable with you just showing up at my house. I haven't spoken to you. I don't know what's going to, I don't know what you're going to have me do or not do. So I said there needs to be a call. Now, one thing that I'm helping my mentees do is learn how to sell over the phone. So the first thing we first thing we talked about is when you get this first call, identifying which one of your marketing efforts led them to actually pick up the call. That is called a call to action. The potential client saw something of yours, they saw your number, and they said, I'm going to call. So that in the marketing world is considered a hot lead, and you don't want a hot lead to go cold. So that's why you need something like this intake sheet, and you need a process. I see processes like this. As I'm telling you guys these different steps, this is how I set up systems for my business and for others. I'm going to show you guys. I'm writing this out. So this is number one. Number one is get the call, right? Might be simple. Number two is complete the, completed intake. Number three would be, verify financial information. Number four would be schedule a home visit. Number five would be like the assessment, the actual assessment. And number six will be maybe whatever is finalized before start of care or the actual start of care. Now, this is off the top of my head. Every agency is different. And if you have a medical agency, there are at least 3 other steps that it's included. And like I said, that's just a general based upon my conversation with my mentees today, 2 of my mentees today. But I know this is an area that most people are not prepared for, because a lot of you are in the startup phase of your business, and I commend you for getting started. So, but remember how I said, guys, that a lot of people buy policies, but they're not functional. And so that frustrates me, because you are, you have these policies, and let's just say about 75 to 80% of the policies that you buy, you can use to complete, get your license. Some of them you cannot use, and then you get your license, and then you don't have functional policies to operate your business. So if you bought some policies, never read them, and even maybe the consultant or whoever submitted the policies for you to the state, and you just trusted that their track record says that they're going to, you'll get approved. And let's say, thank God, you do get approved, but you never read the policies, you don't know any regs, and you don't know anything about your business. So you skip over so many steps, and then you start marketing. Thankfully, you have the mindset and aggressive to start marketing. Great. But can you see how all these things are happening? And then you get your first client. I don't know what to do. What do I send out? Well, with the policies that they gave you didn't come with forms. The policies that they gave you didn't come with steps. They don't come, it doesn't come with steps to help you actually run your business. So now you have a fully licensed, validated business, but you don't know how to run it. And this is where I come in, right? This is why weekly I'm coming to give you guys practical tips of how you can be successful. Please know that I really want you guys to succeed. Thankfully, I had my mentor, I physically saw her pay 5 nurses that work for her agency to start their own agency. So what she showed me was that it's enough out there for all of us to win. That was my first introduction to eliminating a poverty mindset. So if you ever wonder, like, why is Sean just sharing all this stuff? I'm sharing a lot of stuff that a lot of other, coaches or consultants will not. Now, there is a difference when you do get into my mentorship program because, like I said, it's very much customized to your business. But take these tips and share them with, if you know someone else that wants to get started in home care, or just come back, watch it again, make sure that you have smooth processes to run your business, and then go and be successful. So lastly, I'm going to recap what to do when you get your first referral. Answer the phone. Answer the phone. I used to require that my staff answer the phone by the second ring. If it wasn't answered, if I was in the office, I answered, and they hated when I answered it because they knew that I knew they didn't answer the phone. So I had 10 people in my office that worked in my office, and I had 89 active workers working in the field, and I had 75 PRN workers in the oh so you guys may not know what PRN, as needed workers. That was the size of my agency. So because I had so many people in the office, I had our phone system set up. I want to see everybody's. So not only did I get my calls, but I could see if somebody didn't answer because we had a line for intake, right? So when you get there, guys, if you are a newbie, I said yesterday, act your age, mama. So act your age. If your age is you're only 1.5 in business, then it's okay. Just be your age, and when you get older, you can put these other things in place. But so I made sure that the phone was answered within about a second ring. If I wasn't there and I didn't answer the phone, then I had a mechanism for that call being responded to immediately. Why? Because, like I said, I had so many clients. Now, I went out, when I first got started, I went out to a lot of home visits that I'm telling you guys you're going to have to do. And I was the one that sealed the deal. Now, remember, I have a background in international business. My first job outside of college, I worked in corporate America with stockbrokers. I learned how to be assertive and aggressive, which is not normal for women. Hey, Nurse Flo, thanks for joining. If you guys have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments. Because when I'm about to wrap up, and so I want to make sure if I didn't cover something. So what I was saying is that I had that background, guys, and so most women were, and this is not, being, gender bias. We're not used to rejection, and when you do stuff like certain aspects of marketing and sales, you can hear a lot of no, and you would be like, oh, my presentation was on point, I did this, my packet was nice, everything, and it just didn't jive right. So long story short, I went out to a lot of meetings, and I had, what answer service do you recommend? Depends on where you're located. So let me know where you're located. Are you the one in Philly, or are you the one in Ohio? That I So I just heard that a lot, guys. I heard that a lot, that they were uh if you guys were the only ones that called me back. So that's why I said your first thing is answer the phone. So you get your first client referral. You can't treat your business phone, even if it's a cell phone, like, oh, I can't, that number's not familiar, I ain't gonna answer it. What the ham and cheese are you talking about? Florida? Okay. um Florida, I let me make sure, see if they cover Florida. um Please answer the phone. Thanks for joining. And you're at the end of the training, but I will leave this on a replay. And so then the second thing is, remember I said This is a marketing term, but I'm creating some really, really smart home care CEOs that watch my broadcast. So when I said identify the source of your marketing efforts, that is called qualifying your potential customer. You're qualifying them, you know, and when you're qualifying someone, you ask a lot of questions. Is there a good answering service in Philly? Let me see if there's one answering service. Let me see what areas they serve. Now, for those of you guys who are up here, give me the number 2, because I've been putting a lot of numbers. If you're already in business, give me number 2 if you're already in business. Let me see. And I'm trying to get you guys this. 2. Okay, you're in business. She underscore I vibe. Where are you located? Because I think you're just coming in. Guys, try wellreceived.com. I used a personal answering service, but just so you know, you make sure the answering service is familiar with home care, because if they're familiar with a doctor's office but they're not familiar with home care, then it won't help you. Okay, we got some Florida, Tampa Bay. Okay, we got 2 Floridas up here. Thanks for joining, for the love of Christ. Okay, so okay, I said qualify your customer, your potential client, your lead, your referral source by asking them where they found you at, so you can know that your marketing efforts are working in that area, and you can start investing more in that area. Number 3, because I know True Living Home Care, I kind of got off track. Number 3, make sure, I think I'm changing my numbers rather. Number 3 is start the admission process. When you're starting the admission process, I want you to have the mindset of abundance and say, claim that client as your next client, and start talking the language of, okay, pitching your services. So this is where you also have to have like a pitch. You're asking questions, guys, but you have to have a pitch, because you have to be able to explain your services in a way that's going to make them want to, have you come do their home visit, because you're asking them questions. Okay, all right. So, what days of the week do you really need? What days of the week are you looking for, or how many days of the week are you looking for someone to, come? Come, there to give mom a bath. Oh, just 2 days a week. Okay, well, we recommend 3 days a week because we found blah blah blah. And this is when you got to be sharp. You got to have a pitch. You got to have a sales strategy. This is a sales call. Your initial intake is a sales call. And if you don't know how to do that, then please sign up for my mentorship program. Or I'll probably have I think I'm going to have a master class in September. I'm going to have 2 master class. Number 1, on your presentation folders. I want to see all of your marketing materials. I want you to send it to me before our Zoom training, and then we're going to audit them live. So that's going to be a small group, because I'm only going to probably take like 15 people, because that could take a long time. But we're going to learn a lot from each other. And then developing your pitch. So this area, because you got to have a different pitch. You got to have a pitch when you're talking to a case manager. You have to have a pitch when you're talking to a nurse. You got to have a pitch when you're on social media. Yeah, you got to have a pitch for social media. And then you got to have a pitch when you're talking to a client's representative or family member, right? So you're going to start the admission process. You're going to, go through this intake sheet or form that I'm talking to you guys about. Drop an emoji if for those of you who have any emoji, let's do a heart emoji. If you have an intake process or intake sheet, what will make you're going through the questions, you're you're also doing some sales, and then the last part of your sales when you're going through this form, heart, okay, cool, I'm so glad you got one, is to schedule the home visit. So this home visit, that's that person, they're comfortable with you, they feel comfortable with you, they want you, cool, thank you, they're accepting you into your home, their home, and then you can then seal the deal. So you have an initial pitch over the phone, your final pitch when you're having them sign over. But that should be pretty much easy. And then lastly, you actually start the services. So I would love for you guys to make sure that when you're going through this initial intake process, unless you're a medical home care agency, put up a hand emoji if you're a medical home care agency versus a non-medical. If you're a medical home care agency, then that's the only time that it should take longer than, I would say, 3-4 days for you to actually get started. But other than that, you should not be going past that time, because that's another reason why or if they're in the hospital, if they're waiting for them to get out the hospital. Okay, so everybody's a non-medical. Okay, well, that was pretty much my tips and tricks of how you guys can be successful in your first client call. But it seemed like a lot of you are already in business, and maybe you just wanted to perfect your client intake process. So hopefully that helped out. If that did, let me know in the comments. Lastly, this coming Saturday at 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we're going to be having, thanks for joining, I will leave this replay up, going to be having a social media masterclass. So you're able to, if you we'll be having it on Zoom. We won't be having it here on Instagram, because what I'm limited to when I do stuff on Instagram and YouTube is that I can't see your face, I can't share my screen. So I'll be able to help you guys out with that. So if you're interested in that, you have about 24 hours. You click the link in my bio and you can join my social media masterclass. And that basically, we're going to go through how to get referrals using social media. So people are up late at night, just on social media, trying to find ways to grow their business. And I always say, if you don't have a website, or even if your website needs to be revised, because some people, they got their website done, but it really is a hot mess and a half. Use your social media, learn what things to post, what things that will gain the attraction of your ideal clients, come up with content. I'll be sharing a lot of apps and scheduling apps as well that will help you make it easy peasy. So as you know, I am a mompreneur, and I will be getting off now because got to tend to my kids, right? So I hope you guys have enjoyed this, and please let someone know that the Savvy Business Chick is here weekly, giving you tips and tricks to grow your business.